Now, you've probably tried Hasselback potatoes, which are potatoes that have been scored really, really finely so they become crispy and it allows lots of flavour to go in. I'm going to take that concept and I'm going to do it with a pumpkin. It's a fantastic vegetarian or a really great side to go with any roast meat like roast chicken or lamb. And I'm going to serve mine with lashings of hummus. So to Hasselback the pumpkin, I'm using a butternut pumpkin. I like it because it's quite long and it's just going to make it much easier and stable to give it that Hasselback texture. So this is a little trick that is very common. 2 wooden spoons, the longest ones you can get, and it really depends on the size of your pumpkin. Leave the skin on and give it a really good wash and dry. And then with a sharp knife, we're just going to make deep incisions. Now you can see why these wooden spoons come in handy because we're not cutting all the way through. If we cut all the way through, it's going to slice it. We want it to hold its shape. And this will just ensure we get perfect incisions like I'm doing here. And it's also very safe. So as you can see, pumpkin, it's quite tough to do. So we're just going to cut all the way through. I also like the skin because as it roasts in the oven, it caramelizes and becomes really sweet. It's also quite good for you. I've also taken the seeds out of my pumpkin so the whole thing can be eaten. So we'll move those away. I've preheated my oven to 180 degrees and we'll pop this on. Some baking paper. And just have a look at that. See how you can see all those little incisions? It's just a really nice way of presenting it too. So onto the tray, some olive oil, good drizzle over it. You can also do it underneath so it doesn't stick, just a little bit. And just spread that over it, salt and the pepper. So this is going to bake at that 180 degrees for about 1 hour or until it's tender. So it really depends on how large your pumpkin half is. So in it goes. Right, while the pumpkin is cooking, let's get onto the pesto. Now, I like a vibrant green pesto. So the little trick to making sure it retains that gorgeous colour is to blanch your herbs. I'm using a combination of basil and I also like the flavour of parsley. So even amounts of basil and parsley, rapidly boiling water. I've also got a bowl of chilled water. And it's that chilled ice water that will stop the cooking and will help retain that gorgeous, vibrant green colour. So into the boiling water with our parsley. And I've just picked a bunch of beautiful basil. Look at that. I love the smell of basil. And just using this spider, we're going to just submerge it in that water. And as soon as you can see it start to wilt, which it is now, we take it out. So it is one more step, but if you're looking for that dramatic green colour, this is what I do. And this goes for any style of pesto that you make. So straight into that ice water, scoop it all out. And then just get your hands and just submerge that until it completely chills. Now we don't want that excess water in our pesto, so I suggest just using a little bowl, squeezing that excess out. And we've got dry, really vibrant green leaves. So it looks like it's wilted down to nothing, but there is quite a substantial amount of herbs here to make a good amount of pesto. So over to our food processor, in with our drained herbs, just break them up, loosen them up a bit, and in with the nuts. Now usually with a pesto you would use pine nuts, but I'm going to use pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds. They've got a really nice nutty flavour, so they can go in, along with some parmesan cheese, freshly grated, straight in there, a good handful. Tap that. And I like to use 1/4 of a whole clove of garlic. Any more than that, it is overpowering. I want to taste those herbs. So just a small amount of raw garlic, a pinch of salt, some pepper, and I also like some lemon juice. So I will add a small amount now. We'll taste it at the end and we'll just see if it needs a little more. Lid on, and we're going to blend this until it just starts to come together. Then I'll grab my olive oil and slowly drizzle in the olive oil until we've got a lovely sauce. let's have a look at this sauce. Oh, it's that colour that gets me every time. And then we'll just pour this pesto straight into a bowl. You can pop it into the fridge if you like, or it can just sit there at room temperature. And we just now have to wait for our pumpkin to finish cooking and we can bring it all together. How good does this look? Not your average roast pumpkin. And you can see all these little incisions they've opened up. So before we transfer it over to our plate, this is where we add lashings of really good quality hummus. I love this one because it's creamy, it's got a smooth texture, and it's going to go really nicely with our pumpkin. So a generous spoonful, I'm gonna say at least half of this tub, pour onto the base. So spread that out, make a little pond. And now the hard part is just trying to carefully get underneath that pumpkin because it is quite soft. And then on it goes. Done. Great. And that vibrant green pesto, just drizzle that over the top. See how it goes in the incisions. You can also serve a little extra of this on the side. And I love how it mixes in with the hummus too. Some chilli. I've got a long red chilli here because it's mild in flavour, so I don't want it for the heat, but just for that sweetness and the pop of colour there. So just finely chop it and we'll sprinkle that over the top. If you wanted some extra texture, you could add some more pepitas. How pretty is that? And it's not just pretty, it tastes sensational. The three components there brought together, yummy. You can have it by itself, or like I said, a fantastic side to a roast.